So this is an example of a bad transition.
What if I just turn around and say goodbye?
I think the #1 sign of a bad transition is when your project looks like a bunch of blocks that are perfectly lined up together like this. A much better transition would start to look something like this.
What if I just turn around and say goodbye?
So let's get into 3 different ways you can make the transitions in your tracks flow a lot better from section to section and sound more professional. First, we got to think about what's actually changing at the transition point. Are we going from a verse to a chorus? Are we going from a drop to a breakdown? In this case, we're going from the chorus to a post-chorus section where we introduce a new guitar melody and some chords.
Turn around and say goodbye.
So what if we focus the mix on these new elements that come in during the transition? I can cut out these background guitar layers during the first bar. I could cut out the bass during that same bar. I can cut the drums out, and then we're just left with this. And now you can hear the new guitar melody and chords. They have a lot more room to breathe, but it still sounds too robotic and empty. So we can adjust this to sound more human. Like I can introduce this bass a little earlier. Like I'll introduce those 2 notes. I could pick a few of these drum hits and make them come in earlier too. And it doesn't just have to be on that side of the transition, it can also be before it. So before the transition point, let's just cut the kick a little early. Little changes like that just subconsciously let the listener know that something new is coming up. So I think this technique of cutting is the foundation for a good transition, but I think even more important than that is the songwriting that's happening around the transition point. In this track, the main musical element in the chorus is the bass. But if we try to think about what a real bass player would actually do here, they might try to do a bass slide going into the transition like this. Little songwriting choices like that can just help the whole thing sound more natural. So let me give you one more transition songwriting example from a different track. So this one is about the transition from the build-up into the drop. So we have these piano chords, but during the transition, they just play the same riff the whole time. But wouldn't it be more interesting if we did something like this? Because the rest of the piano riff has these short staccato chords, so to add some contrast to that and create some tension, I can play these 2 long chords at the end instead. And the chords themselves have changed to add more suspense. Like this last chord sounds kind of dissonant. That chord just wants to resolve back into a D minor, which is the key of the track. So it's all about using songwriting to add some suspense and then resolving that. And I've built up the tension even more by accenting these chords with some strings. So now this whole transition is really carried by the songwriting behind it. So the last thing we got to talk about is adding effects. I think a lot of beginner producers just slap some white noise risers on every transition like this. how you avoid that is by thinking about the songwriting and arrangement of your transition first, and then only after you've done those things can you think about using some effects just to accent what you've already done. If I want a little more tension going into this transition, I could add a little drum fill and a white noise sweep. And if I want to release that tension, I could add a little cymbal hit. And then to reintroduce the drums, I could add a little hand clap with a little sweep before that. And a lot of the drum samples in this track are from my Pro House Drums pack at bigzsounds.com. You can actually go try it for free if you want to check it out. But now we can listen to the full transition we've made in this track, and I'll add the vocals back in too.
'Cause I'm so done with all these foolish games. You keep me up till dawn, I can't see straight. Now I'm getting tired of wasting time. What if I just turn around and say goodbye? Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.